Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So if you're new here, my name is Emily. I post golden retriever content, military spouse content, lifestyle, really anything. My most viewed videos are my videos about my golden retrievers. So I have two golden retrievers named Jax and Daisy, a boy and a girl. They're both 2 years old, but Jax is older by like 7 or 8 months, I think. Here he comes actually. So yeah, if you're viewing this video because you searched something about golden retrievers and you're new to my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, click the notification bell, and like this video if you want to see more. Comment if you have any other questions. Basically, this video is going to be about how I trained Jax and Daisy. So I'm by no means like a trainer or anything. Like, I don't dog train. I haven't been trained in dog training. Nothing. So this is just from like what I did to get my dogs to be trained, and what I've learned from having them. So I've had Jax and Daisy since they were 6 weeks old. So I got them from the same breeder in Alabama. I also get that question a lot. I got them from a breeder in Alabama. So if you're interested, they're like a really good breeder. I know there's like a lot of mixed opinions about breeders, but they're definitely like a really good breeder. They actually donate a dog from each litter to like a special needs like dog training thing. So that's super cool. So yeah, if you're interested, just message me or something on my Instagram. I'll put my handle right here. But yeah, I've had them since they were 6 weeks old. I got Jax first, and then we knew that we wanted 2 dogs around the same age, so then we got Daisy later on. So as far as training them, I did them both pretty much the same. Obviously there was like a little bit of a difference because Jax is a boy and Daisy is a girl, and they just have a little bit different personalities. But Daisy was a little bit harder to potty train, I think, just because she's more stubborn than Jax is, and Jax is a boy, so he automatically wants to be on everything. So it's not hard for him to just go outside and go potty. So yeah, I'm gonna start with how I train them, I guess, like for potty training. So first things first is I crate train them. I know there's mixed reviews on that as well, or mixed opinions, but that's what worked for us. I crate trained them, so whenever I was gone or I was sleeping, they were in their crate. So the first thing that you need to consider is get a crate that is big enough for your dog to fit in, obviously, but the crate isn't too big. So there's just enough room for them to like do like a 360 in their crate. So it's big enough for them to turn around, big enough for them to like stretch out and lay down, but there's not enough room for them to pee somewhere and then go sleep somewhere else, like the other side of their crate. So we actually have like the big extra large crate for the dogs. They don't use it anymore, but we have that for them. And you can get a divider, so like as they grow you can divide it. I'll link one down below in case you guys are interested. But yeah, as they grow you can like move the divider, so as they get bigger and bigger, the crate just gets bigger and bigger until they're full grown. But that's a big thing that I know people have issues with, is they put them in their crate and they're like, oh, they'll be fine, and then the crate's full of pee and poop because they can pee somewhere and sleep somewhere else. Dogs typically don't want to sleep where they do their business, so that's just the biggest thing that you need to consider. And I would definitely recommend getting the divider versus like getting a small crate and then getting rid of that, getting a medium crate, because like financially that you're gonna like waste a lot of money, because even the small crates are like 30 bucks a piece. So you can get the big crate for like 70 and you'll be good. So then as far as like when I let them out, so they say that every month that your dog is, so like if your dog is 3 months old, it should only be left for 3 hours. So, and then if it's 4 months old, it should only be left for 4 hours, blah, blah, blah. Now I know some people work, whatever. Luckily when they were puppies, I was at home. So I was like home with them pretty much, unless I like was running errands or nannying or whatever. So, but if I left, they would be in their crate, and as soon as I get home, I would let them out, go potty, and that was that. And then if I was home, I wouldn't leave them in their crate because I'm home, obviously. So when they were home and I was, doing things around the house or whatever, I would set an alarm on my phone for every 45 minutes, and I would take them out every 45 minutes, regardless of if they had to go potty or not. So that's just like a good rule of thumb, I think, when they're like super young. just so they don't have accidents. They know they're gonna go outside, you know, their bladder's empty, all that. And then as they were like getting a little more accustomed to being like at my house and stuff, I put a bell on our back door, and so that way they knew to go to the bell and hit it every time they would go potty. And even if they didn't hit it and I was taking them out just to make sure they had to go potty, I would like ring the bell and be like, let's go potty, or go outside, or whatever command you want them to know. For us, it was let's go outside, or you want to go outside. We would like ring the bell and then take them out. So yeah, that was when I was like home and they were just like out and about running around. And you know, they had a ton of toys they were playing with, whatever. So then as far as at night, which that's like probably the hardest part about having a puppy, is at night. They don't want to be in their crate. They don't want to, you know, be stuck in there and all night while you're sleeping. So they do sleep with us now because they're completely trained, but when they were puppies, they were in their crate at night. And so Jax hated his crate. He whined and whined and whined for about a week, and it was terrible. It was probably the worst week ever. But I knew if he whined and I took him out, he would know that, oh, if I whine, then she'll take me out. So things that I kind of did to help him to, you know that the crate was like a safe place, and I never punished them going into their crate. I was never like, you're bad, like go in your crate. I wanted the crate to be a happy place, like their place of, you know, like shelter, like place that they like to go, like to lay down, whatever. So at night when he would cry and stuff, I would like take my socks like that I've worn, or a shirt that I've worn or something, and I would put it in there with him, so he had like my scent, and that was like comforting for him. And so that kind of helped a little bit. But after like a week or two, he was like out like cold, sleeping upside down in his crate. Like he was fine with it. Granted, he didn't love going in it, but he didn't cry anymore. And then as far as like taking them out at night, when they were really little, probably, I mean, you just kind of have to gauge at what point you like change things and you don't take them out as often, and you know, they can hold it a little bit more. So that's like kind of varies dog per dog, and also the size of your dog, obviously, how much water they've been drinking. So at night I would set an alarm for every 3 hours that I was sleeping. So and then I would take him out and go potty. And then so at night when I take them out to go potty, I wouldn't just take them out and just like set them down and let them like just walk around and do whatever, because I wanted them to know that we're going outside right now and you're getting out of your crate so that you can go potty, and that's it. Like we're not playing at 3 a.m. midnight, like we need to go potty and go back to bed. And so I would take them and put them on their leash. That way they knew we're out here and we're going potty, and we're not, you know, playing around, running around, acting psycho. So that's what I would do, because usually, you know, when you go and you get them out, they're all excited to see you, whatever. And so that's what I would do. As soon as they went potty, we would go right back in and go right back in the crate, and I would go back to sleep. And that worked really well. And so then, you know, it was 3 hours, and then if I felt like, you know, maybe a month in, they were, you know, doing well, or they weren't crying anymore, having accidents as often, you know, I would stretch that to 4 or 5 hours, and then eventually they would make it through the night. And then it would be to where I would have, you know, all night I was sleeping, they were sleeping in their crate perfectly fine, woke up in the morning, went out on potty, and that was it. So that's what really worked for us to get through the night. It's probably the hardest part about having a puppy, because nobody likes to have their sleep interrupted. Okay, and then as far as like when they do go potty, I would literally act like a psycho head. Like I would be like, oh my god, like good job Jax, good job Daisy, like good girl, good boy. Like I would like literally freaking act like a nutso. And that's just so like I would clap my hands, like pet them, like just be so happy, because they want to know, like you want them to know that like 100% like they're going potty, and that's like the best thing that they've ever done. And if you have to bring treats, Jax wasn't very food motivated. He still kind of isn't now. Daisy, on the other hand, she's very food motivated. If you tell that girl you have a treat, she will do anything in her power to make you happy to get that treat. So yeah, whatever you think like makes them happy and they know that like they've done a good job, do that. So they're gonna have accidents in the house. That's just gonna happen. People think that they're gonna get a puppy and they're gonna be potty trained and they're never gonna have an accident. That's just gonna happen. It's a puppy. Unless you're like watching it like 24/7, you never take your eyes off this thing, which that's kind of impossible if you have literally anything to do, then they're gonna have an accident, like things are gonna happen. They're a puppy, like you should know that going into it. And so when they do have an accident, even if they've emptied their entire bladder, like on your floor, you know that there's no way they have any pee left, still take them outside so that they know, like, oh, I went potty here, but I should go out here. So take them out and just be like, no, you go potty out here. Like, no, go potty out here. And even if they don't go out there, like still reward them for being outside, and like that's where they go potty. Obviously you're not going to reward them for going potty inside, so you want to reward them for going potty outside. So and who knows, they might still have a little bit of pee left in them, and maybe they were scared, or maybe you caught them in the middle of it and you're like dragging them outside. That's happened plenty of times. So yeah, just still take them outside regardless, so that they know that's where they go potty and not in the house. Another thing, I know some people use puppy pads, and I think if you're like in a high-rise apartment and that's how you want your dog to go potty, because you know you just don't have time to take them all the way downstairs, walk them, if you like live in a big city or whatever, if you want them to go on the pee pad, like that's totally fine. But if you do have a fence or you have a backyard where they can go potty, where you want them to go potty, then I wouldn't recommend the pee pads or the puppy pads. I never use them. Sometimes in the beginning I would put it in their crate, just so if they did have an accident, it was like, you know, absorbed by that and it wasn't such a mess. But I never really spent the money on them. I never got them really, because I feel like if you have the pad, they think, oh, I can go potty inside. Like if I can't hold it and to go outside, then I can just go inside, it's fine, you know? Like I feel like it kind of teaches them to go potty inside, so I never used it and they've turned out perfectly fine. So, okay, so that's pretty much it on potty training. I don't really think that there's anything else to it. I mean, you know, at night, crate training, even if you're not crate training and you keep them in like a, you know, in like you gate your kitchen off or whatever, same thing, the same things kind of still apply, I would say. Okay, so then another thing that people like complain about a lot is puppies chewing things, puppies biting you, you know, gnawing on your hands, their teeth are really sharp, scratching you, all that. So the biggest thing is chewing on things. If I saw that Jax or Daisy was chewing on something, or they were, you know, all excited and they like were chewing on, like, you know, my sock or grabbing my clothes or the carpet or something, I would just redirect them to the toy and be like, good girl, good boy, like this, you know, with the toy. Or I would get them really excited with the toy. And I mean, have so many toys that there's too many toys for them to like get through, and they'd never get bored of their toys. The reason why they're chewing on other things that they're not supposed to is because they're getting bored. So definitely get a lot of toys. Even if you like don't have a ton of money for all the toys, like stuffed animals, like anything that you can make into a toy, do it, because if they're not bored with their toys, they're not typically gonna chew anything. So that's kind of a sign of them acting out. Of course, in the beginning, they don't know that it's bad for them to chew on anything. So just kind of, you know, telling them like, no, like, and if you want to like give them a little tap on the butt or tap on the nose or whatever, and just kind of tell them like, no, so they know that it's bad. And then some people, I think Jax was really bad with this. He would like try to play, like when I was playing with him, or he would try to play with me, he would come and like bite my hands, like not like aggressively, but you know, like play biting. And puppy's teeth are really sharp and they hurt really bad. Like I would have scratches all over my hands. So again, I would just redirect him to a toy, like tell him no, all that stuff. And you always have to remember that like puppies are teething too, so just like a baby, they want to chew on a lot of things because their teeth are falling out. Usually you won't see their teeth fall out because typically they swallow them. So they are teething and they have their, you know, big boy, big girl teeth coming in. So another thing that you can do to help with that is like a toy that is like maybe like a rubber bone or a Kong or something. You can actually freeze it and then give it to them, and that typically helps to soothe their gums a lot. Ice cubes, pretty much anything that you think that would be good to freeze. I wouldn't say like the fabric toys, but probably like the harder toys, the rubber ones, just stick them in and freeze them. Maybe like a Kong, put peanut butter in it and freeze it. That definitely helps. All right, so then as far as like things that you want your dog to do, like if you don't want your dog on the couch, don't let them go on the couch when they're a puppy. If you don't want them to go on your bed, don't let them go when they're a puppy. Everything that you do when they're younger is like what kind of dog they're gonna be. So things that I've kind of thought about are like simple commands like sit, shake, lay down, go on your bed, go outside, like go for a walk, like heel when they are walking. All of that stuff you need to start like literally the day that you get them. So as far as like sitting, I would, you know, tell them to sit. Obviously you're like sit, and they have no clue what you're talking about. They just look at you like you're stupid. But a thing that helps with them sitting is when you give them the treat, you're like, you know, here you go, you want it? And then you know, they're all excited. And you're like down, and then if you tell them, if they're standing up looking at you, and you hold the treat above their head to where they look up, typically that makes them like sit back, and then they're sitting, and then you're like, good boy, good girl, and then they know like, oh, you know, my butt's on the ground and I get a treat. So it's just like positive reinforcement. You literally just have to like do it over and over and over and over again. And then go on your bed is a good one, so that if you know you have company over or you're eating dinner and you want them to go on their bed, you tell them go on your bed and they go ahead and go. And so a thing that I would do, I would just be like, go on your bed, and I would run over to the bed and I would get on it, and then I would give them the treat when they were on their bed. So that's another one. Shake or paw, if that's what you want to call it. You kind of just grab their paw and then they kind of know. What else? Oh, going on a walk, as far as like heeling, how you want them to walk on a leash. As soon as obviously like you're taking them out on the leash when you're taking them to the bathroom at night, or that's what I did. So they were already kind of familiar with their leash. Daisy was kind of like scared of the leash. So I would put the leash on her when she was just like walking around the house, so that she would just drag the leash so that she got used to it being on her. And then I would take them and walk them around like our neighborhood. And obviously when they're puppies, like they're just kind of like, you know, they like just learned to walk like a few weeks ago, you have to remember. So just keep like exposing them to going on a leash. And then obviously when they get a little bit bigger, probably around like 6 or 8 months, even 9 months, that's when, especially golden retrievers, when they get bigger and they get more rambunctious, and that's when they can actually like pull you, and it's annoying at that point. And so for Jax and Daisy, I taught them to heel. Jax wasn't very food motivated, so he was a little bit harder, but I would have Jax heel to my right side, and so I would tighten the leash up, have him heel to my right side. It'd be tight for a little bit. If he's getting ahead of me, I would go ahead and make a circle like in the road, like where I was just walking. So I'd make a circle in the road to where he was on my inside. That way it kind of would like I would cut him off a little bit so he would stay there. Totally would take him off. He would even turn around and try to bite the leash. Like he did not like when I did that, because it was putting him in his place. And then he would realize like, oh, mom's walking me, like I'm not walking mom. So he still will kind of pull a little bit now, but only like at first when he's really excited to go on a walk, and then he kind of chills out. But he does listen, you know, he knows like when's too much. If I tell him like easy or stay, that's something else that they know. When they got bigger is when I introduced the harness, because you know, if you notice that on a walk they're like choking the whole time because you're trying to teach them to not pull, but it's hurting their throat, then maybe put the harness on them, because it's a little bit easier to like kind of control them, you know what I mean, like their whole body. So that's something I recommend. I've never used the pokey collar thing on them, never been a fan of that. They walk just fine on a leash, and I've never used that. I've never used the shock collar on them. I've never used a vibrate collar on them or anything, and they've been fine. So another thing that I just thought about was the easy. So anytime I would give them a treat and they would like snatch it from me, I would always tell them like easy, and if they like went to snatch, I'd pull it back and I would say easy, and I would be like no, and they wouldn't get it unless they were taking it like respectfully. So that's something too, because you know, we'll have little kids over here or whatever, and I feel comfortable enough for a little kid to give them a treat, because I know that they're trained enough to know that they're not gonna bite the little kid's hand or whatever, you know, taking it too hard or snatching or whatever. So that's another thing too, when they're eating their food. When they were younger, when they were puppies, I would pet them and rub them and scratch their belly and scratch their butt and play with their ears, all while they're eating. And that's so they don't become food aggressive, which is a huge thing if you want to have kids or if you have kids, because I've heard of a lot of people getting rid of dogs because they bit their kid while their dog was eating, and their kid came up to them to try to play with them, and you know, the dog thinks that it's taking their food, gets aggressive, and bites the kid. So that's a huge thing. I always played with them and made sure that like they knew that I wasn't trying to take their food. I'm just like, you know, petting them, whatever. And so to this day, they don't ever try to growl at you or anything when you come up to them while they're drinking, eating a treat, eating a bone, nothing. So that's a big thing. And then as far as like literally anything you want your dog to do, you have to start it early. If you don't start it early, they're not going to do it. You can't 3 years into their life be like, why don't you know this? Why don't you know how to do this? And it's like, well, you never taught them when they were younger, so how would they know? So even like as far as them like off-leash training, if you have them off their leash and they know not to roam, because when they were younger, you know, you said stay, you know, stay, whatever. Another thing with how to do that is like get like a 20-30 foot long leash to where they can't get away too far because they're on that leash, but they know like this is the radius that you want them to stay in. If they start getting to the end of the leash gets tight, you tell them stay or come, or you call them to come back, and then they kind of learn. So we're still kind of working on that with Jax, just because he's very curious. He loves to go and sniff, loves to go and sniff other dogs, go find other dogs. Daisy, she's never been an issue. I think it's just their temperament is a little bit different. And then a big one is, if you haven't seen my grooming video, then go ahead and check that out. But I get a ton of comments on there, people asking, how do you get them to just sit there? How do you get them to just lay there all by, like, and they don't act crazy or cutting their nails, and they don't even care. They're just so calm, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, yes and no. You know, there are some times when they don't want me to do those things, but I kind of put them in their place and I'm like, listen, like, we're cutting your nails, like, come here. So as far as that, Jax hated his nails cut when he was younger. I remember like wrestling him in the kitchen to try to cut his nails, and when they're a puppy, their nails are really, really, really sharp, and so you have to cut them, because if they jump or anything, like if you have kids or whatever, they're gonna get scratched and you'll bleed. So as far as cutting their nails, start early. You don't want to like start early and cut them all the time to where, you know, you're hitting the quip and they start bleeding, because, you know, you can only cut them so often, obviously. So I would always make sure to play with their paws, and like if I was laying on the couch with them, because we let our dogs on the couch, I would just like play with her paws, you know, whatever. Even like the clippers, even if they didn't need to be cut, I would kind of just like come and like pretend like I was clipping them, just so they knew like this is okay. Like I just lay here and I have this done and it's over and I get a treat at the end. And then brushing them, same thing. They love to be brushed though, so that's not an issue at all. It's like a massage for them. Clipping their hair, same thing. Started that when they were younger. Taking a bath. They still don't love taking a bath, but they don't act a fool either. They get in the bathtub, I give them a bath. They understand to sit there or stand there while I'm bathing them, and then they get out. So everything you have to start when they're younger to get them used to it, because if you introduce something when they're already 6 months old, a year old, they're not gonna like it. Just, that's it. So it's kind of like a kid when they go to get their hair cut. You know, at first they like cry and scream and they hate it, but then, you know, at 5 years old or whatever, they're like, okay, I'm just going to get a haircut, it's fine. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't think that there's really anything else I can think of to just talk about. A lot of things I feel like I need to show, but it's hard to show because they're already trained. Sometimes I wish I would have started my channel when they were puppies, but that's okay. I can talk about it now and kind of give you guys advice, because I do get a lot of questions about how I train them to be like this, and everything. So let me call Daisy over here so you all can see her at least, because Jax actually has a sore on the side of his face. So he has a cone on right now. He's not too happy about it. Maybe I'll show you after. Here, mamas. Okay. There she is. Look, say hi to everybody. So this is Miss Daisy girl. Huh? You Miss Daisy girl? Yes. So Daisy is, how are you, sis? She just turned 2 on November 2nd. And Jax will turn 3 March 16th, I think. So yeah.
Can you think of anything else?
Oh, I guess another one would be jumping, or when people come over, they don't, she just burped. So when people come over, they don't jump or whatever. That's a huge thing people have issues with. If you don't let your dogs to jump on you, they're not gonna jump on other people. So if you come home and you're like, oh, hi, and you like let them jump on you and like everything, cause you know them, they're gonna jump on other people because they're gonna think, oh, this is how I, introduce myself to my mom, and this is how, I greet my mom at the door, so why can't I greet other people like that? That's just kind of how I think of it. Not sure if that's what you think. Is that what you think, sis? Is that what you think? Yeah. But yeah, if you let your dogs do it to you, they're gonna do it to other people. So even when I get home from a long day of teaching, I come home in the door. Usually Daisy is the one that tries to jump on me, and she'll try to, and I tell her no, and I tell her to sit. I'm like, sit, go girl, and then I pet her and she's all excited, and she greets me that way. And so sometimes I'll get down on their level and let her give me kisses or whatever you want to do. So when people do come over, tell them, easy, like get down, or if you want to use the go on your bed thing to where they have to go on their bed when people come over, that's fine too. They get really excited when people first come over, obviously. But we've never had any issues of them like totally jumping on people or like scratching people or anything like that. So, but like once they're here for, a few minutes, they totally calm down, and then they're like their best buds. So yeah, if your dog is like that, then definitely work on it, and don't let them do it to you if you don't want them to do it to other people. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this video. I've been talking now for almost 30 minutes, so sorry if this video is really long, but I wanted to address everything that there is to address. Oh, yes. So yeah, again, if you're new to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you're notified every time I post a video. Like this video if you want to see more. Go check out my other dog related videos. I'll go ahead and link them all down below. That way you can just click on them from there. Follow me over on my Instagram. I post probably more pictures of the dogs than I post of myself. So I should really rename my Instagram to be Jackson Daisy, not Emily Bruce. But how can I not post pictures of them? They're just so stinking cute. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!